Hey there, friends. Welcome back to Second Star to the Left. I'm Michelle, and this is my daughter, Billie.
Hi.
And here's where we'll share board game reviews, ramblings, and a few wrong turns along the scenic route. You know what can be really scary? Trying to keep this game collection to one that will fit on our shelves. Or, if you're Billie, culling any games at all. I thought we'd talk a little bit about our spooky games in and out this season. What new games we acquired, and what games are being let go to the games graveyard. Okay, probably not that spooky. They're just gonna get gifted or sold. Let's start with spooky games in. Billie says that I'm not allowed to count paper dungeons because D&D themes aren't spooky. So I guess we're saving that little roll and write for another time. But since I just mentioned it, I won. If we don't count that one, then we were pretty good this month and only bought 3 new spooky games. I think that's because we have an attachment to the ones that we own, and we just want to play those more this time of year. We really like thematic, spooky games and don't play them enough, so they always feel new when we get to this time of year. The first game on our list is one we already talked about a bunch, but that's Horrified American Monsters. We have had a chance to battle a few more of the monsters now, and we're really enjoying the new puzzles. Some are scarier than others. This isn't going to replace the original. We still love it. We're keeping both, but this will probably be our go-to Horrified from now on. If you want to check out our thoughts on the minis and vote for which one Billie will paint in her first video, I'll put the link below. The second game on our Games In list is The Night Cage. I've talked a little bit about this one before as well, but I am completely in love with how immersive and thematic this one can be. I think spooky games just really need you to invest, to go all in. And to be clear, I do have 2 categories of spooky games. Spooky fun, think like Hocus Pocus, Nightmare Before Christmas, and spooky scary. Think anything that makes you hide under your covers at night. Night Cage falls into this second category. I mentioned in our movie game pair-ups video that this one gave me Don't Be Afraid of the Dark vibes. Crazy, scary onion people. And that's really creepy. I mean, sure, you could just move the tiles around and not get into it, but what's the fun in that? Watching the tiles disappear on the board as the candlelight dims creates this rich sense of impending doom. And knowing there are wax eaters around every corner, waiting there in the dark, and the only thing keeping you safe is one flickering candle, that's seriously creepy. And on top of all that scariness is a solid co-op game that has you planning together to collect keys and get out of a labyrinth of dark corners and tunnels. We haven't even played the more advanced versions yet. The next game that we're bringing in this season is one that leans way further into the fun spooky category, and that's Whirling Witchcraft. I wish I could tell you lots more about this game, but I am currently stalking the UPS man and waiting, not so patiently, for it to get here. From what we know, Whirling Witchcraft is a lighter game with players trying to brew up potions and make their opponents' cauldrons blow up. It has some variable player powers, recipe fulfillment, engine building, resource management, and it's a little bit mean. But honestly, we just want to make potions with frogs and spiders and magic and blow up each other's cauldrons. This looks quick and charming, and hopefully, by the time this video is up, it will have already been on the table. Now, on to what Billie thinks is the much scarier portion, which games are leaving. Oddly, 3 of the games have the same theme, so we'll start with the one that doesn't. First on the list of spooky games heading out is one that I actually have a lot of emotional attachment to, and that's Pittsburgh 68, designed by Larry Wick and published by GameWick Games. We got this game early on, maybe 2012, at a convention that wasn't specifically a board game. I think it was PAX East in Boston, when the board game section was still pretty small there. And I remember seeing Larry there, dressed out in costume, and thinking, how cool is that? You can actually meet the people that create the games. Obviously, this was a while back, and we were still really new to conventions. But it was just amazing to me that we could meet with him and demo the game right there. I want to make it clear that we are not getting rid of this game because we don't like it. We liked it so much that we backed the next 2 versions of it, both Roswell 51 and Innsmouth 32. Pittsburgh 68 is a game of shuffling horror. It's a game that's actions recreate the feel of an old movie. The 4 rounds or reels are set up to mimic the increasing tension in a horror film. One player plays as a zombie, playing against everyone else, and as players fail, they become zombies and join the other side. The game uses cards and spoints, survivor points, as well as dice for battles. It's a fun, thematic game that requires at least 3 to play, which is another reason why we're eventually going to have to decide which version we're keeping. We just don't get 3 people to the table as often as 2, so keeping all 3 versions of this, it's just not going to work. I think we're leaning towards keeping the Roswell version, just because it's a theme we don't have a lot of on our shelves. These are fun games and worth a play if you haven't tried them. The other 3 games on the list of spooky games heading out are all from the same universe. And that does not mean that we don't like this theme. It actually means the opposite. It's that we love this world so much, we tend to buy too much of it. And also because if you wait long enough, lots of games will offer up a Cthulhu edition of their game, like some kind of board game offering to the great old ones. The first on the list of Cthulhu games is Cthulhu Realms, designed by Darwin Castle and published by Tasty Minstrel Games. Cthulhu Realms is exactly what it sounds like. It's a Cthulhu-themed version of a Star Realms-style deck builder. We bought this one way back when deck builders were our polyomino games, which means I couldn't get enough of them and bought every deck builder we could find. And we had just recently fallen in love with Star Realms, so why not a Cthulhu version? Isn't that the question with lots of games? Why not a Cthulhu version? There's nothing wrong with this game. The art is cute, the mechanics are sound. It just doesn't get played.
Well, honestly, I kind of forgot we had it.
What does that mean, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm going to play a deck builder, I'm going to reach for something else. And if I want Lovecraft, same thing. There are just better games for us that scratch that itch. Although today Billie did say she wants to play it again before we decide if we're getting rid of it.
It's a really small box. Do you need to call it?
I know, but Max would be very disappointed in us if we held on to it just because it was a small box. It's still on the list. We'll see what happens at the end of the month. The next game on the list is Elder Sign, designed by Richard Lawness and Kevin Wilson and published by Fantasy Flight Games. To let you know how long this one has been on our shelves, we bought it after we watched an episode of Tabletop with Will Wheaton. I don't know, 2012, somewhere around there. I've played this a couple of times solo. I'm not sure Billie has ever played it.
I think maybe once.
But it's been almost 10 years, and this one just doesn't see the table often enough to justify keeping it. Elder Sign is a quick-ish co-op dice game where you're racing against time to prevent the return of an ancient one. As with almost all Lovecraft-themed games, you're trying to retain sanity and stamina and complete the goals. I'm actually a fan of dice rolling games, so that isn't a drawback for me. I like the suspense of seeing if you're going to succeed or fail according to a roll of the dice. This game takes 1 to 2 hours and is one of the earlier games in the universe. I think we got this right after we got Arkham Horror, the big one, right? I'm not sure why it didn't hit the table more. I think part of it is fiddly setup, and part of it is that there are just other games that feel similar and we just like more. This is absolutely a solid game and can play 1 to 8 players, but I think it deserves more play than it's going to get here. So, off to the graveyard. And the last game that we're going to cull is a bit more popular. But no matter how much we tried to love it, and we tried to love it, the setup and the fiddliness of the whole thing just continually defeated us. And that one is Arkham Horror, the card game. I know a lot of people love this game, go all in, buy all the extra packs. When we were actually playing it, we had a really good time. It was one of the best games at giving us that immersive Lovecraft universe feel. But I cannot stand the setup and takedown, and I hate those teeny little numbers on the cards. I would have kept attempting to play this because we loved the campaign aspect so much, but then we bought Mansions of Madness, and for me, that was the death knell for Arkham Horror. I can get that same adventure, horror, story-driven feel plus some from Mansions of Madness. The app for that game is amazing.
It's funny, I remember you saying you would never play a board game with an app.
I don't remember that. I think you're lying. We aren't often gonna table a campaign game, so Arkham Horror just doesn't stand a chance when Mansions of Madness is on the shelf. I am sorry that we didn't get to play out more of the scenarios, but those cards and I were not meant to be friends. Not sure what we're gonna do with this stack of games yet. We might give them away, we might sell them, but as far as our collection goes, they're in the game's graveyard. Those are our spooky games in and out this spooky season. I mean, probably. There's still a little bit of the season left, and I've been known to impulse purchase things, and Billie's been known to keep me from culling things, so who knows. If you have any suggestions for spooky games that I might still impulse buy in the last 2 weeks, put them in the comments. But for now, it's 3 in and 4 out. That's not bad. Spoiler alert. It is bad. It is so much worse than that. But most of the purchases weren't spooky games. So much for that no buy ban. We'll talk about that at the end of the month. Also, by the time this video goes up, I am fairly sure Billie is going to try and convince me to keep some of those.
Only some?
Oh no. Well, anyway, thanks for watching. If you like what you see,
or if you want to keep watching until we get one right,
then please like, subscribe, and share. If you want to find us elsewhere on social media, I'll put the links down below. As always, open tables, open minds, and play your shelves.
Bye! It's a ghost wave.
It's not a ghost wave.
Spooky month.
Woo!
You look so cool.
I am so cool. What?
I'm judging you. Cthulhu.
Did you make fun of me?
Cthulhu.
Did I say it wrong?
You paused for a long time between the K and Cthulhu.
If you're gonna sit over there, you may not make fun of me. You can't just sit over there heckling.
I feel like that's my job.
Oh, creep. But for now, it's 3 and... Why are you laughing now?
You said but.
Oh my god, are you 12?
Yes.
But for now,
But.
it's 3. Stop! Thanks for watching. If you like what you see...
Or if you want to keep watching until I don't wave yet.
Get rid of this. I have